Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the new Tier 7 Royal Navy battleship. Wait, no. Battlecruiser, right? I'm in the Battlecruiser, the HMS Hood. So, Aerroon's in the hood. Okay, stupid unfunny jokes aside, I'm using these modules and commander skills, and this is my first impression of the ship. And I find her to be lacking. That is, I don't see her having enough positive qualities to make up for her deficiencies. So let's list some pros and cons. So let's go with pros first. I think she has incredibly good citadel protection. I don't remember being citadeled a single time while playing a bunch of matches in this ship. You see, her citadel is pretty much at the waterline level, and on top of that she still has sloped citadel armor plates. So it's very difficult to citadel the ship. She also has a good health pool. She has defensive anti-air, which is really good on a battleship. I say battleship because she obviously gets battleship matchmaking. There is no battlecruiser matchmaking in this game. And she is really fast at 32 knots. But that's pretty much where the positives end, in my opinion. Everything else is pretty much similar to other battleships of her tier, or worse. You see, she is big. We're talking enormous, like almost Iowa-sized, and this means that it's very easy to hit you. And because you also have a whole city on the deck, on the ship as you can see, it's rather easy to hit you with lots of HE shells. And if that's not enough, her huge size also has implications on her maneuverability, because unfortunately she seems to have inherited the turning circle of other ships her size at 910 meters, which puts her slightly worse than one tier 10 battleship even, and much above all the other tier 7 battleships. And you know, this means that she has poor maneuverability. She also doesn't have a good rudder shift either. And on top of that, in regards to maneuverability, she has poor turret traverse. Now, she doesn't have turret traverse as poor as the Warspite and the Yamato have. However, I think it's the third worst one. It's definitely worse than the Fuso at 60 seconds. Now, on top of that, she also has slow AP shells. Only slightly faster than the North Carolina. And unfortunately, unlike American piercing shells on the North Carolina, they seem to also lack in penetration power. That is, from the numbers I saw, the AP penetration values were pretty much only slightly above what the Bayern has. And anybody that has played the Bayern pretty much understands just how difficult it is to actually citadel other battleships in her. And unfortunately, the Hood seems to have the same problem. So while she might have AP damage per minute that's on par with the other tier 7 battleships, because of her AP penetration being worse, the only tier 7 battleship that I think has worse one should be the Scharnhorst. Well, you can't really utilize that AP DPM, which I think means you are going to output less damage to other battleships. Now, it doesn't really affect fighting cruisers, because battleships in general don't have trouble citadeling cruisers as long as they are citadelable. Now, if that's not enough, she also doesn't have great range at 17.6 kilometers at tier 7. I mean, compare that to the Gneisenau at 19.5 kilometers, or the Nagato that's almost 20 kilometers. Now, while I said that she does have defensive anti-air, well, here her raw anti-air damage per second, or damage per minute, or whatever, damage output, is poor. You see, she only has 72 AA DPS at 5 kilometers, and the other distances don't have a large amount of AA DPS either. So when you actually use defensive fire, you are only somewhat above what the Gneisenau gets normally. And the other problem is that some of her AA DPS is actually at 1.5 kilometers. That is the short-range rocket AA that she supposedly has. only has 1.5 kilometer range, and she also has some other AA guns that are 1.5 kilometer range. Now, later in this video, you'll see me hover over the AA DPS numbers, but those aren't actually correct, at least the port disagrees. You see, in the port, the rocket artillery is at 1.5 kilometers, but in the in-game numbers, it'll show them as part of the long-range AA. But from my experience, it didn't seem like the rocket artillery was actually contributing AA DPS to the long-range AA. Like right now, you can see that long-range AA guns say it's 127 AA DPS, right? But if you add up the port numbers, that's not actually the case. It should be 72, and 55 of that should be the short-range AA, but those are simply the rocket artillery. I don't know, maybe it's like a bug. Well, one of them is bugged. Okay, so... But also, when I said that she has a large size, but good citadel protection, it does mean that she does take a lot of penetration hits, which, as we know from fighting German battleships, can still be really deadly. And this essentially means that, because you can't really citadel other battleships and they can't citadel you don't really gain much of an advantage from that. And you know, her secondaries aren't that great either, so... in a secondary battle, you probably wouldn't win either. So, that's pretty much it, what I think about the pros and cons of the ship. I just don't see what she has that would make her be a good ship, like the Gneisenau, for instance. She's just as fast as the Hood, but the Gneisenau also has torpedoes. She has better maneuverability. The Gneisenau only has slightly less AP damage per minute, but has better AP penetration power, and if you are in a situation where you fight the Gneisenau from the front, you know, both of you are angled towards each other and you only use your front guns, then both of you have the same number of guns pointed at each other, but because the Gneisenau has faster reload, she gets to fire her guns first. And I just don't see anything so great about this ship that would make up for the maneuverability problems or the turret traverse problem. Okay, so by the way, you saw a citadel hit, but consider the fact that that was against a Nagato that was giving me a full broadside at only 10 kilometers. I haven't got any other citadel hits so far. Okay, so now let's talk about the match so far. So it's a match on the map Two Brothers. I went towards the western side, but we only had a few ships coming with us, so I decided not to go towards the enemies, because they clearly had more ships, so we should have played passively, which we did, and because of that we didn't actually lose that many ships, while the enemies lost, I think at least 2 battleships there, right? Yeah. So we actually gained quite an advantage. But because they had... So now I wanted to go elsewhere, but because they had 2 destroyers on the western side of the map, my choice essentially is whether I go through the middle or on the eastern side where my team is, and because going through the middle is faster, I picked that side. Now I will say, however, that because the Hood is fast at 32 knots, it means that you can take advantage of opponents making mistakes and you can, you know, readjust your position. Okay, so right now you can see I used the defensive fire ability and hover over the AA numbers. It says 382, but actually you should take like 30 to 40% of that number off and put that into the short range AA column, I think. So, you know, with even defensive fire up and having AA range upgrades, your AA isn't actually that great. It's not that much above the Gneisenau. Okay, so like I was saying about the speed, because the ship is fast, you don't have a problem that I've had with many other battleships that are slow. That is, when your ship is slow, you need to take fights very often that aren't advantageous for you, because you simply aren't fast enough to reposition properly. But if your ship is fast, which this is, it means you can do that, and I think that is actually something many people might overlook. Also, as you can see, you can citadel cruisers just fine, like we just saw with Yaoba, but on the Dunkirk, it didn't happen. But then again, I might have got an unlucky shot on Dunkirk, so it might just be RNG. But I don't think we'll be able to see if I can citadel any of the other battleships in this game. But at least... Oh, never mind, I thought I was gonna take out the Yaoba, I guess not. The reason why we're not going to see any other Citadel hits likely is because the enemy team only has one battleship left, and it's a Bismarck, and I simply just hope that he doesn't detonate me. But there are plenty of cruisers, like the Mogami and the Belfast, and I think the Belfast is the more important target at this stage, because she, first of all, is low health, and she has smokescreen, which would be really annoying. Unfortunately, I got a Citadel hit and finished her off. Wait, I think I just detonated the Belfast. She didn't even have enough health to survive one Citadel hit, but I got the detonation. Well, I guess at least something is nice, but it does seem that the British don't seem to like each other. Okay, so the Aoba was taken out and there's an Ernst Gede, both of them probably torpedoed, and the Mogami also likely torpedoed. In regards to torpedo protection, this ship doesn't seem to be incredible at it, but she seems to be at least somewhat good. And because she has poor maneuverability, she kinda needs it. Okay, I should be able to get out of the torpedoes of the Mogami by going behind an island. Oh. Okay, that was a really nice Citadel hit. I can't really believe I got so many Citadels here. I think this might actually be painting the wrong picture. So there's an Ernst Gede in the smoke here. I should try to finish her off. Come on, Ernst Gede, come on. Come out, wherever you are. I only have 16,000 health though. Wait, she is rushing me? Why? I suppose actually it does. Oh my god, 7,000 damage. Wow. I suppose it does. Okay, damn, those shells missed, but my secondary should be able to finish her off. Excellent. So actually rushing the Hood might not be the worst idea, considering the fact that her turret traverse is pretty poor and her maneuverability is also pretty poor. But unfortunately, now it seems to be a fight between the Hood and the Bismarck, and the Bismarck has a lot more health than the Hood does. And she just fired at my ship and did 15,000 damage. So as you can see, you don't even need to get Citadel hits to deal a lot of damage to this ship. But at least, on the bright side, I didn't get detonated. I only have 101 health, however, my heal just came up, so my heal is going in. Hopefully the secondaries on the Bismarck don't kill me. Doesn't seem likely, but now I'm angled towards the Bismarck, and I think I should survive the next salvo, although she should be able to overmatch my front armor. Okay, excellent. Well, at least I'll get my last shot off, and I think this is actually goodbye to the Bismarck. Well, historically accurate Hood, right? That's how it went in real life. The Hood sank the Bismarck when they fought. Right? That's what I remember in my history books. Okay, so the match went rather well. I mean, I got 6 Citadel hits, but to be honest, they were all at the end. I did sink 5 ships, so I technically got the Kraken Unleashed, but because it's a test ship, we don't get any of the medals. So team score, well, 2100. Actually, I guess I carried my team quite heavily this game, considering number 2 was at 1350. And 2 million potential damage, so I did tank a lot of damage this game. And I did a significant amount myself. And obviously, since it's a premium ship, you get a lot of credits. So let's take a look at her in port. So she actually looks really good, and she actually has the premium camo on at the moment. And I think it looks pretty decent. Doesn't look ugly, but it doesn't look flashy either, which I guess for miniship enthusiasts is going to be exactly what they wanted. So let's take a look at the armor. So armor layout. She has 25mm of bow armor, 25mm of bow deck armor, 51mm of deck armor in the middle, and 25 at the bow at the aft again, and aft plate is also 25mm. So the upper armor belt near the deck is 127, the middle is 178, and the main belt is 305, and there's also a torpedo bulge. But it doesn't come above the water, so it doesn't really affect anything other than torpedoes. So let's take the armor belts off and look at the Citadel. So as you can see, look at this. The Citadel is pretty much at the waterline, right? I mean, look, it's pretty much at the waterline. This is the top area. And this means that she is really, really difficult to Citadel, even if you could penetrate this. While the slope is only 51mm, at least the front, the athwart ship is 127, and It's the same at the rear, so it's really difficult to actually citadel this thing, I think. Okay, so we can see her in dry dock now. Looks really nice. Okay, so the stats, as you can see, 18% torpedo belt, which is okay, I guess. It's not bad, but it's at least something. It could have been worse. 67,000 health, artillery, as you can see, 30-second reload, 48.6 seconds turret traverse, but this is with expert marksman. Well, you can see the HE and AP stats, and as you can see, the muzzle velocity for AP is really slow at 731 meters. Only 17.6 kilometer range, and here's the AA. This is a rocket artillery, 55 AA DPS at 2.2 kilometers. This is with both range upgrades. So it would be 1.5 without them. And 72 AA DPS at 7.2 kilometers, and 65 at 3.6. And then there is 9 at 1.7 again. So basically, this anti-air output is actually really weak, and you need the defensive fire to, well, I guess it does put you slightly above the other ships, other battleships. And maneuverability is still poor, 15.8 seconds rudder shift, 910 meter turning circle, 33.6 knots, but this is with the speed flag. And concealment is also awful, 15.7 kilometer detection range, and the maximum air detection range as well. That is, maximum air detection range is 11 kilometers. Anything above that doesn't matter. She is a cool ship though. She looks nice. So in conclusion, I think that this ship she's lacking. But she is a work in progress, so there's still hope that they might fix her. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I would like to thank the patrons and Patreon now. Thank you very much for your continued support, James, Yurazar, and Ian, and I hope I see you guys next time.